Scottie Barnes comes away with it. That's his sixth rebound. Lead pass. How about that?
It's always fun when Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and the NBA champion Denver Nuggets come into town. A well-oiled offensive machine with arguably the best player in the NBA and one of the most dynamic guards in the league. And tonight, despite an incredible performance from Scottie Barnes, the Nuggets duo carved up the Raptors to hand Toronto a 9-point loss.
I think everybody on our team wants to win, so we halftime in the game when we timeouts, we're all talking throughout the timeouts of what we need to do. We all know what we need to do, and we just got to put ourselves in that position to try to win. Sometimes we just have those lapses in the game, and we just got to be able to not allow that to go on for longer periods of times.
Things were comfortable virtually all game for Denver. They didn't seem fazed with the Raptors offense, daring them to shoot and beat them from behind the arc. The Raptors finished the game 9 for 27 from 3, but in the first half they were 3 for 15. And despite Pascal Siakam and Scottie Barnes combining for 30 points in the first half, the rest of the team scored 14 points on 6 of 23 shooting as the Nuggets carried a 17-point lead into halftime, and the Raptors fell down by 10 plus points for the 8th game in a row.
He did a great job. He was the one guy that first half that he had energy and he was really fighting there. We were flat in the first half. Was it because maybe we missed a couple of layups or open shots? I don't know, but our defense was not good. They scored 40 points in the first half in the paint, and we kept them to 22 in the second half. Same players, same people, with just different mentality, different disposition, and I thought we won the second half, but against this type of team, you gotta have respect for them from the jump ball, but we gotta have respect for ourselves from the jump ball. And our energy was, for whatever reason, was not there. We gotta be much better.
Still, in the second half, as we've gotten used to, the Raptors made things interesting. A bench-led unit with Precious Achiuwa and Gary Trent Jr. willed the Raptors back into the game in the fourth quarter, with those two combining for 25 points on the night on 10 of 19 shooting. Achiuwa was massive on both ends, giving Jokic problems defensively, while both him and Trent Jr. made big-time shots to make things interesting. But the Nuggets didn't sweat, and the Raptors made far too many mistakes in the fourth quarter and lost the game. Maybe their biggest mistake was not involving Pascal Siakam or Scottie Barnes as often late in the game, despite both of them having great games, especially Barnes, who was a superstar throughout, finishing with 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and a block on 62% shooting. The Raptors fall to 11-16 on the season and 12th in the Eastern Conference as questions continue to loom about if head coach Darko Rajakovic will continue to make a big change to the starting lineup.
We are talking about it. It's something that's there. I don't think necessarily that it's just like starting the game, because we start subbing out very, very quickly, and but it is something that we talk about. But also subbing, not starting any of those guys, it's a ripple effect what it does for the rest of the team, and who's going to be playing and who's not going to be playing. And if you do that, it might be shrinking rotation to 8 players or 7 players, and I'm not sure that we want to go that route.
Now folks, Scottie was sensational in this game, and the fact that he still dropped 30 and only knocked down 1 3 shows his offensive upside even outside of the shooting. He looked like an all-star again, and to inject some positivity, we're going to talk about that in the film room. Scottie was awesome, just absolutely insane, and it was great because he was going up against Nikola Jokic, going toe-to-toe against, one of the best players in the NBA, arguably the best player in the NBA, and he did not disappoint. 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, that is tough to do on a night like this. And I thought, Scottie was sensational. I talked about the 3-point shot, right? He only hit 1 3, and he still found ways to carve out the defense. Tonight was a great example of all the different factors in which Scottie can thrive and all the different ways that Scottie can thrive in. So let's get into it. Scottie is such a potent post player. Here he gets the mismatch on Jamal Murray, then just takes advantage and rises over top for the finish. Later on, he gets Zeke Nagy onto him and just walks him down into the paint and finishes over top. Really great finish there. Later in the game, he gets the switch onto Murray again, and Murray does a good job of defending this, but Scottie still finds a way to square his shoulders and rise up over top. That is one of his best qualities, his ability to still give it a good shot regardless of the contest. Here he gets the switch, takes advantage, and draws a foul. And here it's against Nikola Jokic. He takes him one-on-one, takes the bump of the 7-footer, and rises up over his length. I mean, that is just really tough work from Scottie. Incredible job from him. And honestly, the post-up is something where I think in the future he is going to continue to thrive as he develops even more of an arsenal. This has been an area of growth for Scottie this season, the pick and roll. I thought this was a great example of it. He snakes this pick and roll, and now it's essentially one-on-one between him and Jokic. He uses a nice tween dribble to get Jokic off of his spot, takes the bump, and finishes over the outstretched arm of the Joker, over 7 feet of the outstretched arm of Joker. I mean, that's a really tough shot, tough finish, and he does that stuff pretty regularly. This time he uses the pick and roll to find Jakob Poeltl, who he finds right in his spot. Nice little push shot there. And a big part of the pick and roll is also your ability to pull up and shoot over top. So here Scottie takes the switch, kind of gets Zeke Nagy off his spot, finds daylight, and hits the jumper. Really impressive stuff from him, and that's obviously an area of his game that he continues to expand. Scottie is also a very good off-ball player, and that showed off tonight in 10 of his points. This time, the Raptors run their patent play for a Scottie alley-oop, and then he drives the ball. Gary Trent Jr. redrives and finds him in the dunker spot. And obviously, this is the shooting that I mentioned. He's been exceptional as a catch and shoot player this season. This time, the Raptors run a play for him, and he just steps into it and knocks it down. Again, this just makes him that much more dynamic of an off-ball player, just because teams are kind of scared of his ability to shoot the ball. This time, the Nuggets are running zone, and Scottie flashes middle, being a great zone breaker with his playmaking ability. He surveys, see if there's anything out there, if he can make a play for anybody, and if not, he can settle into a nice mid-range jumper, as he does here. Great awareness from Scottie off ball, but I thought he was also excellent in transition, as he usually is, going downhill. Just his ability to use his speed, get a live dribble or get a live rebound, and finish. This time he gets the dunk. Scottie's going to be able to feast like this for the rest of his career. I think the highlight play, though, as we get him, drawing a foul in transition, the highlight play is this one. Left-handed pass from 60 feet out, and it hits right into the pocket of Pascal Siakam for the finish. I don't think people understand how hard that is, because he is using his opposite hand and sending a picture perfect. Some quarterbacks can't do that type of stuff right to Pascal Siakam. That is just sublime stuff from Scottie. He was sensational throughout this game. And as I said, it kind of showed you his full package, right? I had, I think it was, Chris Walder actually tweeted saying, well, it sucks that we're wasting a Scottie Barnes game like this. And while I understand, you obviously want to win this game, I thought it was an exceptional development game for him, because he showed off in multiple areas. He shot the ball a couple of times. He was dominating in the post, dominating in transition. They even gave him a couple of pick and roll reps. Ultimately, I would like to have more pick and roll reps, but these are the type of games where you're going to get. If this team is heading towards a rebuild, you're going to like these type of rebuild developmental games for Scottie Barnes, where he puts up 30, 10, and 5. Now, ultimately, you want to win. Yes, absolutely. But I thought this was a really good game for him to figure out how he can take advantage of teams. And yeah, this was a win in that category. I thought Precious Achiuwa was great in this one as well, developmentally, if we're talking about his ability to defend Jokic in the post there for the third and fourth quarter was really crucial. He hit some big and timely shots, made some plays. Really special game from Precious Achiuwa. Gary Trent Jr. as well, knocking down a few shots. He consistently is trying to get into rhythm. That's been really good for the Raptors. But ultimately, man, like, this team is what it is, right? And they're working with scraps. Darko Rajakovic is sort of working with scraps. Dennis Schroeder, who, yes, he's relying on probably a little bit too much, is more of a backup point guard than a starting point guard in the NBA. Malachi Flynn is like a fringe point guard in the NBA right now. So at the end of the day, they don't have enough guard talent to be able to sustain themselves playmaking wise, transitional fluidity wise, and all that type of stuff. They just don't have enough of it. Not to mention the shooting, not to mention the wonky fit with Jakob Poeltl and Scottie Barnes and Pascal Siakam in the front court. There's just a whole lot of roster construction questions with this team that it's kind of tough to blame all of this on some lineup changes. The team is just not good enough. And I don't think that, they're 11-16 right now. I don't think if they made some drastic changes right now in terms of changing the starting lineup or changing how they play, maybe doubling down on some post-ups or involving Pascal Siakam, it might be a little bit better, but I don't think this team is going to end up being a above 500 team because of it. I don't think they're just magically going to become like a 45, 46 win team if they go out and do those things. This team has a cap in terms of how good they can be. We're seeing that right now because it's a wonky fit at the end of the day. The roster just isn't good enough. And until they do that, it just seems unlikely that they're going to be able to carve out a lot of wins. And this next stretch with a lot of road games is going to be indicative of that, I think. So we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We will see what happens. Obviously, I'm not going to come on here and talk about trades consistently because, at the end of the day, I doubt they make a trade in December. I really do. I just don't think, despite it, the writing on the wall, if you will, this team usually doesn't make any type of move like that in December. The last time they did was the Rudy Gay trade. And so I just don't think that that's going to be happening anytime soon. But we will see, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tapping in. If you were interested, tap into the Objective Basketball Podcast. We do great work there. We talk about the NBA. We talk about those nuggets if you guys want to listen to it. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Take care.